Imagine this. A convicted murderer manages to escape from a maximum security prison, scaling walls and outsmarting guards, then vanishing into the dense Pennsylvania wilderness. For nearly 2 weeks, he evades authorities, sending shockwaves through the community and making headlines nationwide. This isn't a plot from a crime novel. It's the real-life story of Danelo Cavalcante, a fugitive whose escape captivated and terrified people across the country. Today, we'll take you through his escape, the intense manhunt that followed, and the lasting impact it left on the prison system and community. The story begins at Chester County Prison, Pennsylvania, where Danelo Cavalcante was being held after a recent conviction. He had been sentenced to life in prison without parole for the murder of his former girlfriend, a crime that left deep emotional scars on her family and the community. Just days after his sentencing, Cavalcante decided to make his break for freedom. Chester County Prison was known for strict security, and most would assume it was nearly impossible to escape, but Cavalcante found a way. It was early in the morning on August 31st, 2023, when Cavalcante entered the exercise yard, along with several other inmates. CCTV footage later revealed a scene no one could have predicted. With surprising agility, Cavalcante began what's known as a crab walk, pressing his hands and feet against 2 parallel walls and slowly inching his way up. This unusual method allowed him to climb the walls undetected by the guards and cameras. Once he reached the top, he maneuvered through restricted areas of the prison, carefully avoiding other surveillance points and security personnel. The escape was so silent and smooth that it went unnoticed for nearly an hour. It wasn't until a routine head count that guards discovered he was missing. Alarms blared as the prison locked down, and a massive search was immediately launched. Cavalcante's escape triggered an all-out manhunt involving local police, state troopers, federal agents, and K-9 units. Helicopters equipped with thermal imaging scoured the area, hoping to spot him from above. But Cavalcante had already vanished into the Pennsylvania woods. The Chester County community was gripped by fear as word of his escape spread. People were urged to lock their doors, stay inside after dark, and report any suspicious activity. Cavalcante wasn't just an escapee. He was a convicted killer, and his skills in evading capture made him even more of a threat. Days passed, and the search area expanded to cover miles of dense forest and farmland, but Cavalcante seemed to stay one step ahead. Sightings were reported, leading search teams from one neighborhood to another, but every time, he slipped away. As the manhunt dragged on, Cavalcante's ability to survive in the wilderness became apparent. Growing up in the jungles of Brazil had given him a unique set of survival skills that he was now using to evade one of the largest manhunts Pennsylvania had ever seen. He was believed to be scavenging for food, hiding in densely wooded areas, and avoiding any kind of human contact. Each night, he disappeared further into the landscape, leaving only brief sightings and vague clues behind. The situation was more than just a pursuit for the police. It became a psychological ordeal for the residents of Chester County. Each day he remained free intensified the community's fear and anxiety. Schools operated under heightened security, parents kept their children indoors, and businesses adjusted hours to limit exposure. The rural, quiet area was now on edge, and even routine tasks like going to the store became risky for residents who worried that Cavalcante could be hiding nearby. Meanwhile, search teams intensified their efforts, working around the clock. The authorities faced numerous challenges: dense foliage, unpredictable weather, and an escaped prisoner who seemed to have an uncanny ability to evade detection. Law enforcement added more personnel to the hunt, brought in additional K-9 units, and set up checkpoints across various roads. But each day seemed to end the same. Cavalcante, once again, nowhere to be found. One family had an especially close encounter. A homeowner reported seeing a figure matching Cavalcante's description, moving near their property. Security footage confirmed it. Cavalcante had been there, but by the time police arrived, he was gone. Frustration grew as authorities came close, yet failed to capture him. People began to question the security measures at Chester County Prison, wondering how someone like Cavalcante could escape and stay on the run for so long. Then, after nearly 2 weeks of fear and anxiety, there was a break in the case. On September 13th, authorities received a reliable tip from a nearby resident who had spotted a man matching Cavalcante's description in a wooded area. This time, the police acted swiftly, deploying additional resources to the area, closing off all possible exit routes, and setting up a perimeter. As law enforcement closed in, Cavalcante realized his options were limited. It was a tense standoff, but in the end, Cavalcante was apprehended without incident. He was taken back into custody, ending the 13-day manhunt and bringing a sense of relief to the community. For the residents of Chester County, the nightmare was finally over. But the questions remained. How could this have happened? How could a convicted murderer escape from a secure prison and evade capture for nearly 2 weeks? The aftermath of Cavalcante's escape left a lasting impact on Chester County Prison and on the community as a whole. An investigation into the prison's security protocols was immediately launched, and prison officials promised reforms to prevent similar incidents. The tower guard who failed to notice Cavalcante's escape was placed on administrative leave, and the facility vowed to implement stricter training and oversight for its staff. For many, the memory of those 13 days lingers. The escape not only highlighted gaps in prison security, but also left a scar on the sense of safety and trust within the community. The prison's response has been scrutinized, and families continue to question whether the system is doing enough to protect the public from potentially dangerous individuals. Cavalcante's escape will be remembered as one of the most dramatic prison breaks in recent history. It serves as a reminder of how even a seemingly secure facility can have vulnerabilities that, if exploited, can lead to significant consequences. The incident has sparked discussions on prison reform, accountability, and the need for more robust security measures in facilities housing high-risk inmates. While Cavalcante is back behind bars, the lessons from his escape remain fresh. His daring prison break and the ensuing manhunt became a tale of suspense and fear, reminding everyone of the fragility of security systems. Chester County Prison may have implemented changes, but the event stands as a stark example of how quickly a lapse in attention or a small weakness in protocol can lead to a crisis with far-reaching effects. Here at Escape Files, we're dedicated to exploring stories of prison escapes, high-stakes manhunts, and the lengths people go to pursue freedom. From notorious jailbreaks to incredible survival stories, we bring you real-life accounts that keep you on the edge of your seat. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more gripping tales from the world of true crime and suspense.